This is Michael Popak, Legal AF. Did you know there were 9 missing minutes from the Kristin Welker Meet the Press interview of Donald Trump? And they were right at the beginning. Meet the Press took one look, and NBC News took one look at the first 9 minutes and basically gave Kristin Welker and the interview a mulligan, a do-over, by cutting that out and not showing that on television. But we have the clip right here. In fact, I'm going to show you the clip that the prosecutors, Jack Smith, Fani Willis, and others, are going to find the most intriguing from the quote-unquote missing 9 minutes. So edited out, as anticipated, you will see by Donald Trump himself. You'll see right in the middle, towards the end of the interview or so, Donald Trump says, your network isn't probably going to air this. And he was right. I think the producers and editors heard that and said, we just got a great idea from Donald Trump. Cut that out, start the interview later. No one will ever know. We'll just slice and dice it. Well, we do know, and it is out. And here's the rest of the interview. And when you listen to this clip I'm going to play right now in its entirety about the election and the false statements that Donald Trump continues to make on this show in order to try to cover his tracks and make it more difficult for prosecutors to prove criminal mind and criminal intent by Donald Trump, actually it backfires and it actually will help them prove it. Let's play the clip and then we'll come back and talk about it.
I'm looking to appoint an attorney general who's going to be tough on crime and fair. Very simple.
And go after your political enemies?
No, I would never do that. But Biden has done that. Look, Biden, these aren't indictments against me. These are Biden indictments. This isn't God coming down and very fairly said, oh, you spoke badly about an election. The election was rigged. There's no question about that. There's so much proof on it. Even if you go to the more modern day proof with the, they call it Twitter files, FBI and Twitter, or you take a look at the Amazon stuff or the Google stuff, or you take a look at 2000 Mules, you take a look at all of the ballot stuffing that's on tape, you take a look at the fact that the legislatures didn't approve a lot of the things that were done in the elections and they had to approve. And we could go on forever. We could go on forever. But no, I want somebody that's going to be strong, respected, tough, and fair.
Just to go back to a couple of the points you said, the ballot stuffing, that's something that's been debunked.
It hasn't
As
been debunked.
you know,
it's on camera.
But I do want to keep moving forward.
Yeah, but
and of course,
it's on camera. Hundreds and even thousands and thousands of people. You take a look. True the vote. Take a look. It's on camera.
But Mr. President,
they have
you know,
thousands of
Republican
pictures.
officials
But I know, but Kristin, you can't say it. They have thousands of pictures of people. I know you have to say that for your network, but you shouldn't say it. Because that's the problem.
But Mr. President,
the news has lost such power.
Let's stay on track, though, Mr. President. Let's stay on track.
But you're saying it hasn't. We have thousands of essentially motion pictures of people stuffing the ballot boxes.
But Mr. President,
tens of thousands.
They're not stuffing the ballot boxes, and you've been told that by your top law enforcement officials. But let's stay on track because we have so much ground to cover.
You have people that went and voted in one place, another place, another place. As many as I understand, 28 different places in one day with 7, 8, 9 ballots apiece. They can't do anymore because it would look too phony. These were professional people. They were stuffing the ballot boxes. It's there. I mean, it's there to see. A lot of people don't like looking at it.
60 different cases all across the country. You lost that, but let's stay on track.
We lost because the judges didn't want to hear them.
Mr. President,
but if this were ever before a court, we would win so easy. There is so much evidence that the election was rigged. And you may not even put the section on your show, and you'll have to decide what you want to do. But people know it was rigged. Look, the media, when I first got involved in politics.
As you know, there's no evidence of that. We have so many different topics.
Tremendous evidence.
I want to talk about what a potential...
Let me ask you this. You agree there was Twitter files, right?
Mr. President...
You agree there were 51 intelligence agents that lied. You agree with that?
I'm not the one who's being interviewed. Let's stay on track because I want to talk about...
That's rigging the election.
Because that's what voters want to hear about, Mr. President. Let's talk about what's happening on Capitol Hill right now. Speaker McCarthy announced that he was launching...
Okay, Kristin Welker, listen, I hope you get better at what you do. I admired you before you took this job. I know that's a tough get to do Donald Trump when he comes on with his talking points, but you got to do better. Thank God we got that 9 minutes. You just saw about 2.5 or 3 minutes of it. And what we heard was an unstable, deranged Donald Trump who's either crazy as a fox or he's just crazy, in which he keeps clinging to this falsehood that there was ballot stuffing and dead people voting and people voting out of precinct enough to overturn the results of the election. In other words, dispositive fraud, right? Election dispositive fraud, enough election fraud to overcome Joe Biden's electoral advantage in each state of the 7 battleground states that he won. Boxing streaming services, that exercise app to show your friends you biked 20 miles in the rain, and your hometown newspaper for that one homecoming game score. There's subscriptions for everything these days, and sometimes it feels impossible to keep tabs on what you're paying for every month. That's why I'm such a huge fan of Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Most people think they're spending $80 on their subscriptions, when in reality, the number is closer to $200. When you're signed up for so many things, like streaming services you used to watch one show with, or free trials for delivery you don't use, it's so easy to lose track of what you're paying for. With Rocket Money, you can easily cancel the ones you don't want with just the press of a button. No more long hold times or annoying emails with customer service. Rocket Money does all the work for you. Rocket Money can even negotiate to lower your bills for you by up to 20%. All you have to do is take a picture of your bill, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. Rocket Money also lets you monitor all your expenses in one place, recommends custom budgets based on your past spending, and they'll even send you notifications when you've reached your spending limits. With over 3 million users and counting, Rocket Money customers have saved an average of $720 a year. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/legalaf. That's rocketmoney.com/legalaf. rocketmoney.com/legalaf. So for instance, in Georgia, there's fraud at every election. You know, there's always somebody voting their mother-in-law's ballot, or somebody's mother-in-law died in voting that ballot, right? Or out of precinct voting by mistake or on purpose. But they'd have to show that there was enough of that to overcome, in Georgia, for instance, 11,758 votes. And there isn't. That usually happens at the most infinitesimal level. 0.001%, I think, is the stat I've seen about fraud in any given election. He'd have to show, single digit fraud, like 2%, 3%, 5% in a state, not happening. But Donald Trump continues to, even as you heard on that clip, refer to things like, 2,000 mules, completely debunked, right? Completely debunked BS documentary that claims that there were 2,000 people that stuffed bags with ballots for Biden and shoved them into voting machines and shoved them into ballot boxes. That's the 2,000 mules, right? Election vote mules as opposed to drug mules or other types of mules. Or True the Vote, which is a completely underhanded right-wing organization that's been challenging votes and trying to act like there was voter fraud, and which competent investigators and law enforcement have looked into it and found that they were completely wrong. But Donald Trump keeps referring to it as he pushes Kristin Welker. And he keeps talking about, for instance, True the Vote and 2,000 mules, and there was ballot stuffing and ballot stuffing and ballot stuffing. And all Kristin Welker can do helplessly is say, but there wasn't, but it's been debunked. It's been debunked. Let's move on, please. Let's move on. Well, Jack Smith and Fani Willis aren't going to move on. They're going to get that 9 minutes. They have that 9 minutes. I have it. And they're going to use that to throw up on the board and show how Donald Trump, against the tremendous weight of evidence, of testimony, of lawyers around him that he appointed in his Department of Justice, in his White House counsel's office, his outside counsel, his election officials, all around, told him that he had lost the election. His head of cybersecurity, the FBI, the CIA, Homeland Security, his own Attorney General, Bill Barr at the time, everyone told him that there was nothing to the allegations of fraud. He chose instead to listen, or at least act like he was listening, to Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, Ken Chesborough, John Eastman, Peter Navarro, Jim Trupis, Jenna Ellis, and the like. Because they told him what he wanted to hear because they're bootlickers of the first order. Instead of listening to all the people that he appointed and had confirmed in office, like his White House counsel, deputy White House counsel, attorney general, deputy attorney general, acting attorney general, acting deputy attorney general, and head of cybersecurity, Homeland Security, and the like, FBI and the like, right? And there's a concept in the law, you can't bury your head in the sand. It's called willful blindness. It's a reasonable person standard. Is it reasonable for a person possessing the knowledge and information that Donald Trump had from all of these very mature adults about the results of the election to continue to cling to documentaries like 2,000 Mules or organizations that are outside the periphery on the fringe at the QAnon level, like True the Vote? And the answer the jury is going to conclude is no, it's not, right? He can continue to try to go on television and say the same thing over and over again. But we know on the very moment back in the dining room, when he was watching the election results, he turned to his communications director at the time, and she's already testified, and said, "Can you believe I lost to this effing guy?" Meaning Joe Biden. "Yes, we believe you lost to that effing guy. And you did it by 7 million votes in seven battleground states." But the interesting thing about the clip is not, what some of the press is. Kristin Welker was worse than we thought. Okay, if this was a journalism hot take, that would sort of be interesting. Although I felt sorry for her. It certainly, I felt like somebody needed to throw her a life preserver, and all Donald Trump was throwing her was like an anvil, okay, and bullying her as he always does, especially women in positions of authority or power. We saw it with Hillary Clinton on the debate stage. We just saw it with Kristin Welker, and we saw it with other people around him. But having said that, that's not the headline. The headline is, how does the prosecutors use that 3-minute clip I just showed you against Donald Trump as they play it in courtrooms to juries? And I just explained to you the way they do it. They talk about the concept, and the jury will be instructed by the judge on willful blindness, that a reasonable person with the information that is in front of them can't also, in their mind, maintain at the same time the concept that they are lost by fraud in the election, given the overwhelming tidal wave of information and evidence arrayed around him and witnesses that have testified. And he couldn't possibly have held that view at the time he committed the crimes for which he's been charged for the 91 felony counts across 4 indictments in 3 jurisdictions. And that's going to be the way, using a clip like that, right? That I know NBC was embarrassed about and tried to hide it, and so that we wouldn't see it. We wouldn't see how bad Kristin Welker did, so they could edit their way around it. But the American people are smarter than that, I believe. American juries are smarter than that. And I wouldn't run from this if I were Jack Smith or Fani Willis. I would embrace it and make it a feature in my opening statements to the jury at the time of these trials. I'll continue to take information that we learn at the intersection of law and politics in only one place, the MeidasTouch Network, and bring it to your attention with the benefit of my 32 years of trial experience in courtrooms and courthouses, just like the ones I'm talking about. I do it right here as one of the leaders of Legal AF, the leading podcast at the intersection of law and politics, along with Karen Friedman-Agnifilo and Ben Meiselas. And then we tie it all together. And on Wednesdays and Saturdays, right here, same place, YouTube channel, MeidasTouch, free. We bring you Legal AF. Yes, it's what you think. We do it just like I just did it, except 5 or 6 stories and 2 of us at a time talking about it, and bringing it to you in a way that we don't blow smoke or sunshine, and we hope is at least marginally both informational and educational. And so until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popak reporting.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.